Honourable Dr. Parmjot Parmar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to speak on the harmful digital communication bill's second reading. Mr. Speaker, before I get into discussing this bill, I want to reject the argument that was presented by the member who just resumed her seat. It is very unfortunate that that member and her party is not supporting this bill. And also I heard from a member from that side that they are talking about prevention and saying that this bill is not about prevention, but this bill is about both prevention and dealing with the crisis situation. The purpose of this bill is to deter, prevent and mitigate the harm caused to people through forms of digital communication and to provide victims of harmful digital communication with efficient and quick means of redress. Mr. Speaker, our work life and our social life in a current day and age is not the same that used to be for my parents when I was little. I remember those days it used to be sending and receiving letters delivered by postmen. And phoning used to be from a landline to another landline. And I still remember it used to be, we used to dial the same number many times to get through to that number after getting through to so many wrong numbers. So the best way was meeting face to face with people for work and social part of life as well. For any urgent matters, it used to be telegram. And that was the fastest way of communication when I was growing up. And Mr. Speaker, as I grew up on Air Force bases, my dad was in the Indian Air Force. I remember telegram, personal telegram used to mean bad news. So it used to mean somebody in the extended family has passed away or there is someone who is seriously ill in the extended family. So as soon as the news used to be out that there is a telegram received by a family on the Air Force campus, other families around would gather and quickly rush to that family to see what needs to be done to support that family. So this is without seeing the content of the telegram, Mr. Speaker, because it was assumed that telegrams were always bad news. So that's how that fastest way of communication was used. But then came internet, mobile phones, and digital technology that we are experiencing. And this is not just limited to our work, it's in our social life, in our personal life. I'm a mother of 2 kids, and I know kids want access to internet because they want to do homework. For homework, they need internet. They want access to mobile phones and other digital technology to stay in touch with their family members, with their friends. And this is by texting, calling, Facebook, and a number of other social media trends that come in out of relevance. Moreover, the advancement of technology is such that day by day, these things are becoming more and more affordable. So the question is about harmful digital communication and cyberbullying. So the Law Commission in its report in 2012 found that 1 in 10 New Zealanders have experienced harmful digital communication on the internet. And there was a close relationship with age, as the numbers doubled for those aged between 19 and 29. Our research also shows that 1 in 5 New Zealand high school children experience cyberbullying or harassment. Bullying is not a new problem, but cyberbullying, harmful digital communication, is definitely a newer problem. And national government is setting various measures to stop bullying and to minimize the impact of cyberbullying on our people, especially young ones. Everyone, actually old or young, deserves to feel safe in their homes and communities. The devastating effect of cyberbullying should not be underestimated. It is very disturbing, especially for our young ones, because it contributes to a lot of other problems, increased truancy, failure at school, and many other social and emotional problems. But schools need new technology for teaching and learning purposes and to help students manage this rapidly changing social environment that comes with it. So cyberbullying is an increasing concern for schools, students, and parents. So, Mr. Speaker, it is time that cyberbullying and harmful digital communication get this attention with the intent to update our legislation for digital communication. So digital harassment becomes part of our legislation and is covered by the relevant criminal law. And there is a process that is clarified how to take up such complaints and enforce regime that will stop harmful communication and provide protection to victims of harmful digital communication. And this is also to future-proof our legislation to the extent we can see what is coming next. And after the Law Commission's work on harmful communications as part of its report on new media, called The News Media Meets New Media, Rights, Responsibilities and Regulation in the Digital Age in 2013, national government announced a number of proposals to tackle cyberbullying, and those proposals are part of this bill. The bill, along with other things, will create a new civil enforcement regime that includes appointing an approved agency to receive and, where appropriate, investigate complaints. The agency will be able to investigate and resolve complaints, and this will be done directly and quickly, but most serious kind of complaints will be referred to the district court. The bill is also to provide a legislative mechanism for people to easily and quickly request the removal of harmful content that is put on websites or some online sites. And it makes it an offense to send harmful messages and post harmful material online. For example, where it is grossly offensive, indecent, obscene, or knowingly false, this will be punishable by up to 2 years of imprisonment. This is about sending that strong message that cyberbullying or harmful digital communication is not acceptable. This bill is to amend the Harassment, Privacy and Human Rights Acts to ensure they are up to date for digital communications, as some of our legislation was written before this digital time. We believe that when it comes to digital communication, we need to have good legal options to take up such complaints and to deal with them. And people may be hesitant to lay their complaint with police, and police may not have mechanisms in place to investigate and prosecute such cases. So in some situations, victims might not know who is sending these messages, because it's very easy nowadays to hide phone numbers or contact numbers, and people may not know who is responsible for posting things online as well. So in these situations, complainants can ask the approved agency to investigate. The agency could pass on a request for a removal, modification, or correction of the harmful communication to an internet service provider or other appropriate internet entities like Facebook, Twitter, or Google. So the next question that I would like to address is that what happens with people's freedom of speech right? Section 14 of the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990 guarantees the right to freedom of expression. However, it is not an absolute right, and freedom of speech does not automatically undo offenses and protections set out in other laws. So therefore, these new proposals in this bill are consistent with the Bill of Rights Act. And so this bill is to address and tackle the growing problem of cyberbullying, and it covers all aspects, actually. It covers all aspects thoroughly by amending related legislation. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I'm not on the Justice and Electoral Committee, but recently I had this opportunity to be subbed onto the Justice and Electoral Committee, and that gave me a very good opportunity to get some insight into the work that is being done by the Justice and Electoral Committee. And so it's really a great privilege to be able to speak on this bill that is assigned to the Justice and Electoral Committee. And I support this bill and commend the bill to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The next call is a split call.